We paid $95 for the ultimate dining experience on the Carnival Glory, the chef's table. Was it worth it? For us, the honest answer is probably not, and in this video we'll tell you why. We've done the Carnival chef's table on a previous cruise, but it was right after COVID.
Right.
And because of the timing of things, we weren't allowed to do all of the things that the chef's table normally does, which includes a galley tour.
Right.
And that was the part I was most excited about. I really wanted to go kind of backstage and see what's going on, where all the banging of the dishes is. And so we had enough fun the first time that I felt like it would be worth doing again if we got to do the galley tour. So when we booked it, I think I was really excited if it was going to be the same thing plus the tour. But it wasn't. The first time we did the chef's table, they had us meet in a small room on the ship where they had champagne and canapes and the things set up.
Yeah,
there's a social hour,
mixer. Yeah.
which was really fun because it gave you an opportunity not just to unwind with a drink, but also to get to know the people you are going to be having this experience with. And so on this experience, they had us meet in the lobby and we just sat on some couches and there was no socialization. There was no champagne or canapes.
Lined us up like first graders and walked us into a room.
Walked us into a room adjacent to the dining room. So right off the bat, for the same amount of money, I feel like we've already lost out on some of the experience. Once we get into the dining room, this to me is kind of where it just kind of fell apart even further.
Yeah.
And I think it all began kind of with the experience of the chef speaking with us.
Yeah, he felt the need to explain every dish and how to enjoy it, but they would put the food down in front of you warm and ready to be eaten, and then he would talk and talk and talk.
For
and
like 5 minutes.
Like you're watching your Parmesan foam pop in front of you and turn to goo.
Yeah, your cold fish becomes warm, your warm food becomes cold. The timing just wasn't done well. Our previous experience, that wasn't the case.
Right.
This was very much a lecture, and it was a very different experience from what we had before. There was also one thing that was the same that really threw me off. It threw me off the first time.
The entertainment.
Around mid-meal, they're going to bring out a magician.
Yeah, card tricks and stuff, which is it's cute.
Cool.
Yeah,
it's cute.
But it feels like a child's birthday party. Yeah. I would have thought like a violinist or one of the musicians on board instead of a magician.
So for us to have it happen twice, leads me to believe that it's probably the standard thing.
That is what they do.
But then we got what I came for. The galley tour, and they actually did it.
Yes, we did get to do it this time.
And so this was, maybe I'd be like, I'd pay $95 for a galley tour. Maybe not this exact one, but it was actually pretty cool.
It was pretty cool.
For our galley tour, they brought us back through the serving area into the baking area. And they basically gave a lesson on how to use a double boiler.
Right, how they make their famous chocolate cake.
It was fun to see it. We worked for years in a resort kitchen.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of neat to see how we came from a small scale operation.
Right.
Maybe
large scale.
Yeah. To go from 1,000 meals a day to 18,000 meals a day is a totally different thing. So it was really cool to go back and do the galley tour. After we got back from the galley tour, they did a group photo.
Yeah.
And then we sat down and we had the second half of the meal. And I think that's an important part of this. It's 8 courses.
It's way too much food. By the end, by our second main dish, people were already barely touching it.
Yes, and after your second main, they bring you first dessert.
Right.
Then they bring you another entree.
There's 4 appetizers.
And then they bring you another dessert. It
was too much.
And the problem is that the good food is at the end.
At the end.
And by the time they're bringing this really good food out, you're just so full.
Yeah, I don't think that I ate even half of that meal.
So we can't complain about the quality of the food.
No,
I wouldn't complain about the volume of food. The thing I would have liked to have seen them change is the wine selection. On our first chef's table, there was wine pairings with each of the meals. It wasn't a full glass, but you got things that were really designed to go with the meal. Here they had a red and a white. And they did tell us what the red and the white were, but it was basically...
And a port.
Well, at the very end, as a dessert. Port. But to me, a chef's table, it's about the full experience of having the pairings, and the sommelier comes out and talks. There was no sommelier.
No.
And again, if this had been just a dinner, fine. but it's $200 for
Yeah.
the two of us to go do this.
In addition to what you've already paid for
Yes.
food on your ship.
Yes, making this the most expensive meal you can buy on a Carnival ship.
Yeah.
I would have expected an experience that at least surpassed what you get
Hmm.
in like the Steakhouse.
Right.
So that was a little disappointing. And for me, it's why I don't think it would be worth doing again for this experience.
Yeah, we've done the Steakhouse before, and that is a fun experience. I think I would suggest doing that instead.
Yeah, it's about half the price.
Yep.
And I think the food quality is 100% on par.
Right. And if you struggle like me to make small talk with strangers, you're on your own at the Steakhouse. You get your
Yeah.
own table.
To make it worse, they weren't just strangers. We were the only strangers. They all knew each other.
Oh, that's true. It was a family.
It was like a...
Somebody had brought their baby.
Yeah.
That wasn't liking the food. And it was,
And because we didn't have the social hour at the beginning, you just sit down.
we didn't mingle.
And it jumps right in, and you don't get an opportunity to get to know anyone.
Right.
And I feel like maybe that was it. Maybe that's the
Possible.
missing piece.
Yeah, because the last time we were sat with some really fun people. One of the ladies was a little tipsy, and she was hilarious. And we like walked away thinking like that was a lot of fun.
They became cruise buddies.
Yeah, they became our cruise buddies.
Right. Whereas in this experience, because we didn't have that,
And we did it on the last night.
and we did it on the last night. That's
Okay.
true. The only other tip I'm going to add
Okay.
is if you do this, you're going to get a notification in your phone that's going to confuse you
Yes.
and make you a little concerned. The day of, you're going to get a notification that says your dinner reservations have been canceled. No
Right.
other context whatsoever.
Right.
And you're going to think,
Oh no.
you canceled my chef's table.
Yeah.
No, what it is you have a standing reservation at the main dining room,
Right.
and they're acknowledging that you're no longer going to be
You're
going
not
to that.
coming for that.
What they don't send you is a text that confirms that you have a different reservation.
That doesn't even show up on the app for Chef's Table
Chef's
too.
Table wasn't on the
We
app
were
at
looking
all.
through the app and we're like, oh no, our reservation isn't here either. So we thought it was gone.
Worked out fine.
Yeah.
Everything else though, look, it was fun.
Yeah.
I don't
great time.
regret doing it. I just don't think I would pay, $100 per person
No,
to do it again.
that's a bit pricey for what we got.
So have you done the Chef's Table before? And if you did, what ship did you do it on?
Right.
Because the Carnival Magic experience, we really enjoyed.
Better than the Glory.
Carnival Glory experience, we didn't really find it worthwhile.
And they were years apart too.
Yeah. So if you're thinking of doing the Chef's Table and anything we talked about helped you make your decision, maybe let us know in the comments or give us a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button for more of this amazing cruise content.
Right.
I think that's it.
Yep.
Bye.